Okay, I'm bored, so I'm going to tell you guys the story of how my sister went missing and how we still don't know what happened to this day. It was a crisp October night, and my dad used to play softball, so I was getting ready to go with him to one of his games. My sister, she was around 6 at the time, so she wasn't going to go. She was kind of like too cold for her, so she was going to stay in with my mom. Okay, so now a little flash forward, the game ends, and we're just kind of like standing around talking to his like teammates, you know, just like after game talk. Everything's going well, and then all of a sudden my dad gets a phone call, and he's like, what? Okay, bye. And we literally, like, he just takes me and we start sprinting to the car. He literally just tells, like, his friends, he's like, oh my God, I gotta go. That's it. So I didn't even know what was going on. I just knew that we were, like, sprinting to the car. Like I said, I literally just got in the car, didn't ask any questions. I just, like, rolled with it. After that, my dad was not speeding home. He was racing home. Like, we were literally, like, it was Vin Diesel. I didn't ask any questions. I was still just sitting there. All of a sudden, he calls 911. I could see him, like, dialing it because he's, like, doing on the little GPS thingy. And they were like, oh, 911, what's the emergency? And I'm just like, what's the emergency? And he's like, I would like to report a missing child. A missing child? The way, like, oh my God, I'm like thinking about it right now. Like, the way I was like, who? I'm like, who? Who's missing? And like, not in a bad way, but I was like, please let it be anyone but my sisters. I'm like, please, like, not my sister. My world, like, crumbled when he said her name. Anyways, so when he said that, I just like looked at him and I was like, I just, like, sat in my seat, didn't say anything. I was like, oh, my God. I didn't ask any questions. I don't know why. I was just, like, trying to stay calm, you know? Like, I already knew, like, my mom was probably freaking out. I was like, let me just be quiet. So then we finally get home, and then we're pulling onto our neighborhood. And when we turn the corner, yellow tape everywhere, police cars everywhere. So that's when I'm like, oh, this is real. So then we park, and immediately, as soon as I get off the car, an investigator comes up to me, and he basically just introduces himself and tells me that he's going to be asking me, like, a series of questions. One of the questions he asked me was, like, what would we do, like, on our free time, or, like, what did we do for fun? And I told him, like, we would ride we had, like, little Razor scooters. I was like, oh, we would ride those around the block. Also, side note, I didn't even know what, like, around the block meant at the time. I don't know why I thought that meant just, like, down the street and back, because, like, we weren't allowed to go, like, past, like, our neighbor's house. Like, so then we're just walking, and then he's like, okay, show me exactly where. And then I was like, oh, here. And then he's like, oh. Because he was like, you know, he thought it meant around the corner. Anyways, back to the story. So then after I'm done getting interviewed, I walk into the house. Every single neighbor on my street is in my house. Like, every single neighbor. Everyone's helping. Everyone's, like, in every single room in my house. Like, there's literally people in the back searching the pool. Like, every single part of my house was being searched. Okay, wait. I feel like this video is kind of getting long, so go to part 2. Okay, part 2 on how my sister went missing and we still don't know what happened. So like I said, every single person in our neighborhood was searching our house. Every single crevice of our house was being searched. So while everyone's searching, the police, neighbors, investigators, everyone's inside of our house. So I walk into my room, and it's the one that I shared with my sister. We used to have, like, bunk beds, just, like, keep that in mind. And my dad was in there because he was watching the cameras. That's, like, I guess, like, we could see, like, the cameras throughout the whole house on our TV. So he's sitting down, and he's just, like, confused, right? And he's sitting down on the bed. Like, remember this part. He's literally sitting down on the bed, and we're just watching the cameras, and we're just like, this is impossible. So then all of a sudden, he's like, you know what? Nope, let's get up. We need to search this room, like, completely. Like, we already searched it once, but, like, we decided to, like, do it again. But he wanted us to, like, take apart, like, the mattress, like, take everything off the beds. So we completely, like, took apart all the sheets, took the mattress off. Like, everything was done. Like, everything was gone. We took everything off. Like I literally saw it for myself. There was, like, nothing on there. We completely, like, strip searched the entire, like, bunk beds, like, both of them, top and bottom. So, like, an hour goes by, and my uncle decides, hey, why don't we just, like, drive around the neighborhood, like, screaming her name. Maybe she'll, like, answer. Maybe she's lost. You know, like, let's just, like, do something. So I go with him, and I'm just driving. I'm screaming her name, but I'm literally just, like, still in shock. Like, craziest thing, insane. Like, I didn't even know what to think. So as we're driving around, my uncle, like, randomly gets a call, and he, like, looks at me. He's like, they found her. And I'm like, what? Like, my first question was, like, where? So then we literally race home. Now we're switching point of views to my parents. So basically, after they had been searching for, like, literal hours, they concluded that we just had to file a missing persons report. And my mom literally lost it. She was like, no, like, that's just such an ugly feeling. You know, you never want to just, like, give up if it just, like, kind of felt like that. So as my parents are doing that, like, I think, like, the sergeant or, like, the head officer, she walks in, and, like, the other officers tell her, they're like, no, we already checked everywhere. Like, they're gonna have to file a missing persons report. Like, we can't find her. And the sergeant's like, no, check her room one more time. So then they're like, no, we already checked multiple times. We strip searched it, like, literally found nothing. Like, there's no one there. And then the sergeant's like, okay, well, do I have to check myself? And then I guess the officers were like, yeah, go ahead, check. You're not gonna find anything in there. She goes in there, is just there for a while. My mom's just sitting down, like, not really thinking anything of it. The sergeant literally comes out holding Ariel in her arms. Like, Ariel's literally asleep and she's holding her in her arms. Everyone's jaws are literally on the floor. Like, no one could believe it. Obviously, everyone wanted to ask Ariel what happened, so we gave her a juice. When she was finally ready to talk, she just said, "Oh, I just fell asleep. I just remember, like, going to bed." She claims that she remembers just crawling into bed and falling asleep, which is literally insane because the same place she fell asleep is the same place my dad and I checked. Like, we literally took apart the entire room. We, like, ripped the sheets from the bed. There was nothing left on the bed. And you're gonna tell me that she was there, asleep? And to this day, we still don't know what happened. Ariel has, like, no recollection other than she fell asleep. But I know what I saw and I know what I didn't see. Like, she was literally not there when we searched for her.
My best friend from college ghosted me for 7 years, and now she's back in my life like nothing happened. What are your thoughts? My best friend from college, we were literally inseparable and we spent all of our time together. We could talk about anything and we had so many great memories. We would do everything together. It was mutual on both ends and we never fought, so I think that's why it came as such a huge shock. I was under the impression that everything was good. After we graduated college, she would just stop answering my calls, my texts, and my messages on Facebook. She would literally just heart and not respond. I was so crushed, so I had sent her a message and I said that if I had done anything or said anything that hurt her, then it obviously was not intentional because I've always cared for her, and I got absolutely no response. It went like this for 7 years and I just kept replaying so many things in my head. The worst part of it all was just not knowing or being given an answer about why our friendship ended. After about 7 years, one of our mutual friends who was still friends with her gave me her number. I just reached out to her and told her that she's been missed, and if there's anything that I said or did unintentionally, I'm really sorry. And she just said, "Oh, you know how technology is. So many people have said that they've tried to reach me and I just wasn't getting the messages." My best friend from college ghosted me for 7 years and now she's back in my life like nothing happened. What are your thoughts? I think she was, because she was hearting the messages. And now for the past few months, she has just been going about things like nothing even happened, like acting all buddy-buddy. And obviously, yeah, I'm happy that she's back in my life, but I've been slowly kind of realizing that, like, no, that's not okay at all. I mean, you don't just walk out of someone's life for 7 years and then blame it on technology. Like, I obviously love her and I really want to continue my friendship with her, but I feel like she's just gonna end up walking out again for 7 years and blame it on some bogus excuse. I'm definitely still hurt because I just feel like I haven't gotten a true, honest answer, and also, she was still in touch with our mutual friends for all of these years, so. A few of them ended up having a falling out with her over the past year, and then she needed me, so I think that's why we kind of got back in touch and started being friends again. I'm starting to think that this isn't really a real friendship. I thought about confronting her about it a little more and just asking her and telling her that, like, technology isn't really an excuse, and I knew that she was seeing the messages because she was hearting them, but I just want to know other people's thoughts on this. Like, what do you guys think? Should I just, like, block her and move on, or should I confront her again?